Great. All right, guys, we're starting the Super Office Hours of Simulation webinar. We have special guests today. Alex Gould, Derek Awasiak, Gregory Ortiz, and Dave Keys. Incredible lineup here. You can ask or direct questions to any one of us, and we're just kind of play a round robin tournament right here, kind of answer any of the questions. Just to give a rundown for those of you that might be new to Director's Cut, I'll just give a little bit of background to every person that's on here. Alex and I met about 6 months ago. We actually met at a Becker Mastermind. Since then, we've become very, very close friends. He is an absolute master at affiliate marketing. He since then picked up client SEO as becoming amazing at it. And he's going to share with us a little bit later today what he's been able to do to save clients when they're getting ready to walk away in a deal. Obviously, we have Derek Awasiak. We have brought him back for 3 weeks in a row now. He's going to of our resident SEO expert. And him and I have been very close for the last 7 or 8 months. Just amazing. Gregory Ortiz, obviously, if you know anything about SEO, Gregory and I first met about 6 months ago. Since then, he's probably helped each and every one in OMG get loaded up with PBNs. Knows kind of like a Swiss Army knife of SEO information. Now he's kind of teamed up with Becker, even though his home is OMG. He's going to be coming out with Source University with like Becker and Mr. SEO Real Estate himself, Dave Keys. You know, anytime that, if you want to search for real estate SEO, you'll always see Dave Keys right there, a master of how to get these clients and also a wealth of information if you ever get a chance to talk to him. Dave is also a client getting master, and that's all he does. And he's going to have some similar stories to share about how he was able to build his business back up in a matter of 30 days after we get some questions and answers. So we'll get started with the first question. And we'll just go from there. It says, aloha from Hawaii from Dawn. Cotton, I'm writing a 2,000-word article for a gold site with 2 videos and 2 images. What percentage should be gold IRA in there, 1 or 2%? What is the best practices for keyword density on the main and to fill it with LSI also? We will go to our resident SEO expert, Derek Awasiak, with this one.
So with writing articles, I pretty much just do 1% for each keyword, but you want to mix in as many semantically correct versions of that same keyword. So if you start doing keyword research, and you might find a couple hundred different versions of the gold IRA keywords, and I just kind of weave those in and out, but I try not to go over 1 to 2% as a baseline, and then you can kind of tweak it from there to see if adding more or less is going to boost you up or not. So I just mostly focus on once in the title, the H1, and then once in the body, and then I just kind of play it from there.
Hey, Alex, do you have anything to add to this, being you're our resident affiliate expert on this, being it seems like he's going to be building a gold affiliate site?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot. I'm pretty close to what Derek said. When I start a page for a new keyword I'm attacking, I like to have the main keyword in the title, and then the main keyword somewhere in the body, and then jam in at least 5 or 6 of these LSI keywords. If you're going for gold IRA, I mean, even stuff like precious metal IRA, think a little outside the box and think of other words to use. Precious metal, retirement investing, just obscene, obscure ways to say got gold IRA in different ways, and plug that stuff in there.
Great. There's some good ideas, guys. So Alex says to get creative with your LSIs and look for some stuff that might be untapped. That's how he's been able to get up to about $60,000 a month in affiliate. Is just
I have actually a good tip for that. Actually, you can when you go to Wikipedia, you can actually search for gold IRA and then you'll find the most relevant page for that, and you just kind of look through there, and they'll have a lot of the main terms that you want to rank for that you can actually put into the article, because they are usually the go-to source for my keyword research. So.
Great. Our next question, that pretty much covers the last one, is from Todd Olson. Since most money sites rely on pages rather than posts, and RSS feeds rely on posts, how can we use this then for pages? Derek, or anyone that wants to jump in and answer that.
Well, I use a plugin that it'll convert pages into kind of like, you'll give you an RSS for the page as well, so you can just use that. I can't remember the name of the plugin, but I don't know if anyone else knows.
Tell you what, if you can find it while we're talking or answer a couple questions, just kind of type it in the chat box for everyone so they know. So hopefully that answers your question. We'll just move on to the next one. When you're trying to rank with a different keyword, already have the main keyword in this 7-pack, now trying to rank different pages with another keyword. So basically the question is, how do we rank multiple keywords in the 7-pack? Well, the first question would be is the 7-pack even open to the keyword that you're trying to rank? If it is, Derek, what's your advice for that?
It's just going to be on site. So the more siloing you do on your website, the more likely it will be ranking on the maps. So if the top of each silo is your main keyword, I guarantee if there's a search or if there's a 7-pack for that, Google's going to know that information from there. So that's the best signal you can give them.
Mm-hmm. Let me direct this question to Gregory Ortiz. Let's see if he's awake. Are you there with me, Gregory?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I use some test sites with PBNs. Now I want to use those links for some money sites, wondering what to do. Should I just change the URL and anchor text in the link, or remove the links and start over with a new post? Of course, I have to change a copy of the post to be relevant and want to know what to do with the links.
What I would do is I would just create a brand new post. You really don't want to edit and mess around with older posts because that would just look a little weird to Google. Like, why is this person going back in and changing the links? I would just go ahead and create a brand new post. As far as your older links go, I would slowly start getting rid of them, like just making them just text, not keeping them as hyperlinks anymore. But I would do that slowly and randomly. I wouldn't do it all from the same site where you're adding one then removing one. That way there's no pattern at all.
Great. Sounds like that covered the question. Next question, I guess it's going to be directed towards me. It's about Local Lead Boss. Have you ever been able to get the email to function? Their support is hardly there. Are you still using Gmail settings or what? To be honest with you, Andrew, I tested Local Lead Boss about 3-4 months ago. I haven't used it since. It's not my main primary source of getting clients. The function worked fine for me right now. Obviously, I'm not a developer, or if the software stopped working, I can't take responsibility for that. I would just keep trying to hammer their support, see what you can get. I had a tremendous amount of success with it. I think I was able to pull about 5 clients from the software. Then I realized it was a viable thing to offer or share with Source Phoenix and with OMG. So that's my answer to that. Next question is, when you're on the phone with the prospect who hasn't filled out their discovery form yet, please repeat what you say to them and when they seem to resist. I guess that's a question that's going to be directed towards me. I created the discovery form. Guys, it's pretty simple. If you have someone that's not willing to participate in simply filling out the discovery form, they're not a person that you even want to work with. It's a simple requirement. If they're interested, let's look at it this way. If you walk into a doctor's office and they say, please fill out this information, your name, address, allergies, whether you've had any surgeries or anything else, and you go, hell no, I'm not filling it out. Are they going to see you? No. So what we're trying to do is project that we're professionals. We have a set of criteria. We have a set of rules that you have to do before there's business done. This information is not only vital to us, but it helps us price. It tells us exactly what they want and exactly how we can pitch them. So if they refuse to do it, that's how you answer. Just say, look, I'm no different than any other physician or anyone else. If you can't give me the adequate information to prescribe to you exactly what you need or what I'm even able to do for you, then I'm unable to give you a proper quote. I'm unable to do business with you. So just be very professional like that, and that's how you say it. If you're getting resistance out of the gate and taking 2 minutes out to give more information so you can better do your job, chances are just let them go. And if you go, but Cotton, that's the only client I've got. Now we're talking about a lead issue, which means if you're not out trying to get clients 8 hours a day, then you're the problem. So I just ran across this question in another forum that I'm helping out with Stephen Floyd, and someone was literally trying to hold on to a client to dear life that was just a nightmare. And his problem was he had no other prospects. So that's what he was trying to do. It's no different than, a psycho boyfriend, the girl tells him, I don't want to do this. And he keeps trying to pursue her and pursue and pursue and trying to find different ways to make her like him. Just let it go. That amount of time that you spend trying to make a square go into a block hole, you could have already had 3 clients by then. Just let them go. So that's my advice to you. That if they
Hey,
won't
Cotton,
fit,
I'm gonna hop in here real quick, Cotton,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
How do you feel about going through the discovery form with the prospect on the phone?
sure.
A lot of these guys are very busy. They're high-paid lawyers, high-paid surgeons, high-paid whatever,
Mhm.
and most of them don't want to sit down and go back and fill out that form sometimes. Now,
Right.
yes, it's not going to be people who you typically want to work with that refuse to fill out that form. But
Mhm.
is there a problem saying, okay, well, listen, bud, I know you don't, I've asked you to fill out the form 2 or 3 times. Listen, we're on the phone right now. Why don't we go through it together and I'll fill it out for you? Is there an issue with that?
No, not at all. Because if they're willing to take the time to go through that with you, then no. What I like to do is just it's to me it's a mental test of mindset whether they
Mm-hmm.
can follow instructions. Because for instance, imagine what's going to happen if you tell them to make some changes on a Google Plus page, or you ask them for a password, or you ask them to change something on a website, or you're asking them for payment. If you don't train them early to do
Mm-hmm.
what you're telling them to do, then you're going to have to stay on the phone with them and maybe walk them through getting paid and other stuff. So I just look at it as training them from the very beginning all the way through. But no, obviously, if you feel more comfortable doing business that way, sales and conversion is all about your comfort level and your confidence level and what comes across to the prospect. There's nothing wrong with doing the way you're doing it. Just if you start noticing that, just make mental notes. And if you're doing that live with someone, and if you start to notice that when you ask for simple requests down the road, make mental notes of that. And that's why, because you had to hold their hand every step of the way. So, it's kind of like a girl, that expects you, says, look, I don't date any guy that doesn't pay for everything. And so that sets the whole relationship up that you pay for everything. So when you do that for them, there's nothing wrong with that if they're in a hurry. But if you continue to make it a habit with everything, then you could be holding everyone's hand too long. But I don't see anything wrong with it if it works.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Hey, Cotton.
Yes. Yes,
Dave
Dave.
here. I'll
Sure.
pitch in a little bit on this topic too.
Sure.
In my niche, a lot of times they call me, and I do look at what Cotton has done, and I'm preparing to modify my intake form to ask a few more questions on the outset. But sometimes I just get the phone call, and so when that happens and it's a cold introduction, I start the conversation with asking them questions about what they're doing in their business. So I learn about their business, and they're willing to tell me. They like to talk about what they're trying to do, what their goals are, and you can learn really quick. And then I use a little NLP trick here and there. I just start injecting the idea into the conversation that I'm not cheap, that if you're willing to make the investment, you can go anywhere, that if you're able to facilitate, the investment, that as long as you can measure your return on investment and see that you're going to profit from this, is good. And so in the conversation, I start to prepare them for the idea that they need to be serious, that they need to trust me, that they need to have a solid business plan already in mind. And that pretty much enables me to filter out the ones that are like, oh, well, I can't afford this or that. It'll come up really quick, and then I can dispatch, that one and take the good ones.
It's a very good advice, Dave. And guys, this is why I wanted all of these guys on this webinar, because they're all masters of what they do. And my answers aren't always right. It's always better to get a different perspective from everything. I know this. All I encourage everyone out there, and including anyone listening, is that to look at mentality like this. And people do this too quickly. If 100 of the most beautiful women line up in the world, and 99 of them say that you're an amazing guy, and that last girl looks at you and says, you were the worst dressed guy I've ever seen, for some reason you don't remember the other 99. You just remember that. Then you start trying to change your clothes. Even though 99 girls loved you, you're worried about that one. So what I encourage you to do is, when you're in client getting, or you're trying to get clients, just because one thing went wrong somewhere doesn't mean you need to change your whole process. And it doesn't mean that something's broken. It just means that it didn't work for that person. These are relationships that we're building. Not every relationship is meant to happen with the business, as it is with a man and a woman, or whatever you like to do. So my thing is just be very careful if you've got a sound business practice that it isn't there. I love what Dave does. And if it works for Dave, obviously Dave does extremely well. He's up to $20,000 a month. I would listen to anything that Dave told me what he's doing. I myself, on the other hand, my time is valuable. I don't care to stay on the phone with him very long because it gives the perception I've got nothing better to do. So when someone calls me directly on a phone call, I take the phone call and it's just like resilient solution. Yeah, I'm interested in your SEO service. Hey, that's fantastic. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your business and what you think SEO can do for you and why you actually have called and want it? So they tell me about their business. I listen. I don't say a lot. They tell me what they think they can do it for you. Then I ask a second question. So if everything that you said happened and 6 months from now, we did SEO exactly the way in your mind that would make you happy, what would it look like? And they're going to tell me exactly what they expect. Then I direct them right to the discovery form and I'm done. The whole conversation is less than 3 minutes and I'm off the phone. And that's it. The reason is I don't want to spend an hour on the phone. I don't care whether they can afford it or not. All my job is to push them to the funnel, because the funnel is going to weed them out. That's why it's there. I don't need to verbally qualify people. I want to qualify them by data so I can get back to research and developing client stuff, SEO, or doing other stuff that's making money, not chatting on the phone. There's no defense attorney in New York City that's rated the top 2 defense attorneys that's charging the most money, where he's just going to chat with you on the phone for an hour to find out if you can afford them or not. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way with brain surgeons, doctors, or the top people in their profession. There's a filter process. So sadly, because I'm a one-man agency, I answer my phone. I want to spin these people as fast as possible, send them to the discovery form and let them sort it out. But I also want to inject a little caringness up front as well. So every way is fine. And I want you guys to hear all angles of the spectrum, because what's most important is what makes you feel comfortable when you're talking to clients. Because if you can't feel comfortable and if you can't be confident, you'll never close a deal. So my way not be the perfect way. Dave's way might be the right way. How Alex just asked, that might be the right way. Take some of these things and just mix them all together and do what's best for you. That's what I encourage you to do. So hopefully that was helpful. Got a lot of great answers and a good question there.
I will say this to cap that off, that ultimately my business will look more like Cotton's and less like it does now. If you want to grow the scope of your business, you will implement these processes to cut back on the amount of time you spend on the phone, that you spend just finding things out that you can find out quickly or automatically. So ultimately, Cotton's way is right. You might not be where he is, but you want to get there. He makes 10 times what I do, so pay attention to his process because it's successful.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. The next question is I'm going to toss this around to everyone because this is a real interesting question, because my answer I'm not very comfortable with my answer on this, is when is the time you ask for testimonials and how do you go about it? Gregory, we'll start off with you. Gregory, are you there? If not, we'll go to Alex. Alex.
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hop in here. Testimonials from clients. A testimonial from a client is a lot like a referral, in the sense that to get a testimonial, to get a referral, the client has to, it's almost like a vote of trust from them about your business. So if you're asking for testimonials, you kind of want to get the client into a yes mentality. And what I mean by that is you want to set him up with some questions that are going to get him saying yes, 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 when it comes to talking about your business. So Mr. SEO, I don't know, what the doctor you're working with, you would approach him and would say, do you think our relationship for the past 3 months has been good for you? And he would say, yes. Do you see how the SEO has increased your business by another $30K a month? Yes. Do you enjoy, tracking all the calls that are coming in and the new leads from our email opt-in form? Do you see how that's helping your business grow? Yes. Well, I have a testimonial written. I was wondering if I could use your name on it, talking about my business. Yes. So you want to make it as easy for them to say yes as possible. And a lot of the times you kind of want to write the testimony for yourself and just say, hey, can I put your name on it?
Exactly. That's a good answer. Gregory, are you with us? What about you, Dave? What do you think?
Yes, I am Con.
Oh, all right. How do you go about asking for testimonials, and when do you ask for them?
Sure. So pretty much I go about the way I do my testimonials is I'll kind of frame it to the client where, hey, I'm looking for testimonials from many of my clients, and I've enjoyed working with you so far. I was wondering if you would like for me to give a testimonial for your business, and if in exchange you could give one on the services I provided for you so far. So far, 10 times out of 10, they have no problem doing it because they're getting one from me in the first place, so they feel like they're getting something in return for giving something.
Great. What about you, Dave?
I use the Content Grammar method. Go to LinkedIn and grab those testimonials from there. And I also tell my leads, hey, look, call up these folks that I've shown you where I rank them, and they'll tell you, face to face or on the phone, whether I can do what I say I can do. So I have them call people.
It's a good answer. Maybe the reason why this question kind of made me feel uncomfortable is because I've never asked for a testimonial. And people go, what? They go, that's like kind of crazy. And the reason is because I ask for referrals, and I think a testimonial is a baby referral. Guys, I think I'm getting some feedback. Why don't you can mute yourself? And
you're echoing pretty hard.
yeah. And so
unmuted.
Yeah, someone still there we go. So what happens is if I'm looking for testimonials, what I'm basically trying to do is cut back on when I'm trying to pitch or sell something to show people credibility. I've got that through OMGers. We're all business owners and we all own our own agencies. That's why I've got over 45 written testimonials about me on my LinkedIn profile. But I mainly just go for referrals because if they will write you a testimonial, you should have asked for a referral. I'm like trying to get money, not to get someone to say something good about me. So I've always just went for referrals. And with that, to be honest with you, if you looked at my LinkedIn profile, I don't think I have one client that I've ever asked to write anything about anything for me. And that's wrong. I'm not trying to say that that's right, and I encourage you to do that. That's just one piece of the puzzle that I've dropped the ball because I've been so focused on money, money, money. So I'm like, if they're happy with me, why don't you show me your appreciation by calling up 3 friends and telling them to come do business with me, not write a referral for me, because sometimes favors can run out. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way, but Alex's way is 100% correct. Get all the S's out of there. Dave's way is right also. But look at testimonials as a way that kind of gives you credibility when people are scouting you out or kind of vetting you out to make sure that you're legitimate, because they're going to give you thousands of dollars a month. And as long as they see a tremendous amount of them, I think you're going to be fine. And, if you can get the testimonial and the referral, that is fantastic. I encourage you to do that. I guess this is where I've dropped the ball and I just get referrals. So it was a good question though. It says right here, Cotton, for the 7-pack, I haven't been able to find out where the list of directory with niches is. Would you please post the link in the area so I could look at it? Tried the 7-pack videos on your page and no luck. My apologies for the issue. As far as niches that the 7-pack is available for, Derek, do we have that list? I like know that I've never paid attention to it. You have a list like that, don't you?
There's one in Moz I use. There'll be directories by niche. I could probably just find that. That's one I use.
Yeah. If you could find that real quick and just post that to like everyone. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd never pay attention to the niches because I just do it via client. So if my client wants that, then I look in that niche. And if not, I don't. I don't create niches and go out and try to rank things in niches or create fake addresses and try to create 7-pack stuff for them to find to do that. I don't do that. And I can tell you this, and I think Derek would agree also, you're eventually going to get caught creating fake businesses and other stuff in the Google 7-pack. I wouldn't try to do it. I like honestly think you're going to get clipped and you're going to waste a lot of your time. It's really meant for legitimate businesses, not fake businesses. So if you're just trying to create a fake 7-pack, to get a CPA or something, they've been cracking down pretty hard on that for what I've been seeing. So I don't know if I'd recommend you to.
So I guess I lost the question. I thought they were asking.
They just want to know the niches. Just
niches that you can put into Google My Business kind of thing?
No, I think they're looking for the categories. I think what they're really asking, maybe I've misunderstood it, is the categories that the 7-pack is available for.
Oh.
Like a list of categories.
Those kind of just change all the time. So.
Right. Like, St. Louis SEO, it went away for 2 months, it came back. So we have no idea of knowing those. So if you're talking about niches, these are categories, and Google takes away and comes back with different categories. And there's no way, Derek, there really isn't any way that they would figure out how we can activate a category, is there?
No, you can't really.
Yeah.
You can get the one marker on one business, but it's not the same thing. So.
Right. Here's one. We'll throw this one over to Gregory Ortiz if he's awake and available. What software or system do you use to analyze a prospective SEO client site?
I'm a big fan of Majestic, so I use Majestic a lot to check the trust flow, and I also combine it with Moz too, just to check its DA and PA. I use Mozbar a lot on Chrome, so when I'm looking at the first page for whatever the client wants to rank for, I'll take a look at the DA of whatever the competition is, and then I'll also take a look at the trust flow and citation flow of the current client versus their competitors.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I would love to hear Derek's answer to this because he is a master at researching this sort of stuff. What do you say, Derek?
I use SEMrush a lot just because I want to see what kind of opportunities they're missing rather than what they're currently ranking for, but then what everyone else is ranking for. So, and then you kind of get a better picture of the actual market, and not just rather what they're targeting. So. That's my main thing I do.
Cool.
Because a lot of times you'll have competition that they're targeting a lot of the same keywords, but they have 3 or 4 times the traffic, so you want to figure out why.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Alex?
I dig in very. Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead, Dave. We'll have Alex.
I dig in real hard to prospective client sites because in real estate, everyone is a sinner. Everybody has committed some level, almost without exception, everyone has committed some level of over-optimization because they're going for a very small set of keywords. It's going to be Topeka real estate, homes for sale in Topeka, Kansas. And so I know that the risk is high, so I dig in very deep. I use Majestic, I use Ahrefs, I use Moz, I use Google, and I dig in to find out what they've done. I look very carefully. It's a little time-consuming, but it has saved me more than once to where I come back and I say, listen, the first thing you need to buy is a detox. And we can start there.
Great.
And it makes a little extra money too.
Sure. What about you, Alex? What do you do when you dig in and look at a prospective client site to get info?
Well, I don't have too many clients. I haven't looked at, tons of websites, but I will tell you that the clients I have picked up, the reason I went after them, harder than other ones is because their websites were primed for ranking. I didn't pick up guys that are on page 40 for their main keyword. Picked up a couple clients that are floating around pages like 2 through 5 and just needed that little extra boost.
Sure.
And by looking at their websites through Majestic and the tools that were mentioned, I knew they didn't have a penalty. My one client, I actually asked for access to the Google Webmaster tool to make sure there was no penalty sitting there for us. But I wanted a very easy entrance into this client game. So I hard sold clients that would be very easy for me to rank.
Sure.
If a website was way beat up, at this point in my career, I probably wouldn't even touch it, just because it'd be too much work and too much hassle. But that's just me.
No, that's the right answer, man. This is your business and you run it the way you want to. And that's a joy about what we do and why we're doing it is some of us like certain things and some of us doesn't. That's how you want to run your business. That's the right way to do it. So I totally agree with you. How you select your clients and How you filter them out and who you get depends on your success. Because if you pick the wrong client, you could be wasting 50% of your time. And by picking the right clients, makes your life a whole lot easier. So with
Yeah,
that,
if I can't see their webmaster tools, they're not going to be a client.
okay. Great. Yeah. Gregory said he's having a little bit of problems, so he's going to log out and log back in. But what I generally use when I look at clients is I know that everyone's been using what's that OMG Command Center. I'm not very familiar with that. I'm like sticking to what I know, and I'm not saying it's not great. For what I've heard about it, it's amazing. And if you're new, I would probably use that. But what I've used is just simple. I have different subscriptions. I first use OpenSite Explorer. I use Ahrefs. I use Majestic, and I use SEMrush. And just like Derek said, I feel that SEMrush is what I use more than anything. It is extremely powerful. It tells me where their lost opportunities are. And if any of you have studied anything that I do and how I get all my clients and how I close them so easily, I prey on lost opportunity. And when you type in a keyword into SEMrush, and when you see how many other keywords there are and all the lost traffic that they're not getting, I add all of that volume together. And that's what I try to show them, that we can get them and show them how much money they're losing. So SEMrush would be my main one, but I use all the rest of them to just kind of get into cumulative stuff, because what I found is when you look for links in Majestic and when you look for links in Ahrefs, sometimes it doesn't match up. Ahrefs has a really wonderful feature that I always like to use, which is like a calendar, and it kind of shows what links have dropped off and what links have been added over the last 90 to 120 days. So I can see the velocity of links coming in and the velocity of links coming out. And to me, I like that. Tells me if there's any SEO been done, if there's any crazy stuff going on that I need to know about to dig in a little deeper. But I just generally use those basic ones to kind of give me a good picture. And literally, we're only talking about 5 to 6 minutes worth of research here. We're not talking about a lot of time. I'm just glancing over stuff. I'm not digging in deep or doing anything crazy. So don't overthink a lot of this stuff. It's just once you do this a long time, you're going to be able to get a general sense of what's going on in a few moments, in just a few glances, looking at these once you enter the website in. So next question. We got get through all these ones. It says, I registered my SEO business website on the 31st of December 2014. My aim is to rank it for my city, SEO expert, etc. What is the best way to link it without getting it sandboxed? I have built about 30 social profiles around it. When should I start hitting it with PBNs? We'll go to Derek on this one first.
Well, if he's already got 30 social profiles around it, you could probably, I start hitting with PBMs almost immediately. So depending on if it's an EMD or if it's more of a branded domain, then you just want to craft your anchor text a little bit differently. But I usually throw one PBN at least once, and then I start going into social and stuff like that, and then kind of figure out where I am on there, and then optimize better for that.
True. Yeah, I agree. Pretty much the same thing. I've been doing a lot of research and development on getting city SEO sites up. The EMDs are moving a lot faster right now than the branded, but once you have the social around it, and you've kind of got it, pillowed a little bit, it's pretty easy to come in and start hitting with PBNs and seeing some movement right away. Well, the only thing I want to add with these social profiles is you want to make sure to see how many have actually been picked up and indexed. If none of these are being indexed, or maybe they've been crawled, I would always try to put these things through an indexer just to make sure that they've at least been crawled by Google, just so they know that they exist. So you're just not hitting out of the gate straight with a PBN right now. Anyone else want to add to that, or we pretty much cover it? Good. Go to the next question. It says here. It says, Google My Business page. It often places the map pin in the wrong location. It doesn't let me move the pin to the correct location. What is the solution or workaround? It says he's in Thailand. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how it works in Thailand. I don't know if it's the same here. I'd like to assume that it is. I don't want to answer and give you the wrong question. You want to try to tackle that, Derek? Or
sure. It depends. Is he set to show his location, or is he setting service business area? That's what I need to know.
looks like
Because
he
if
would.
you're doing service business area, and depending on what you set the circumference of what your business area is, it's going to drop the pin right in the middle of that. So that's why if you try to cover too many, like if we're trying to cover all of Chicago and you want to cover the whole state, it'll drop the pin into the middle of that whole circumference. So that's one thing he's probably have to look at. That sounds like he's using service business area maybe,
Right.
or unless he tried changing the address and it's just not updating.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to give us some more information on the question in the box, we'll see if we can't better answer it here in a few moments. It says here, I have a client that has about 30 or so citations built by another company. I have ranked them, though not in the 7-pack. I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to get them in the 7-pack. Should I spend the $19 a month to review the citations they have in the first place with WhiteSpark CA, or just order 50 citations and then see where things land, given and if I need more anyway? Or do you recommend to do more Google Maps that you showed on the 14th webinar? I'm not sure exactly how this works. Do they place the address for my client in 70 different places? Well, pretty much what he's trying to do is he can't rank a client in the 7 map, and in the 7-pack is what I'm saying. And I'm going to let Derek go on this. He's been studying this incessantly for the last couple months. I've been moving for the last couple months, and he's a little bit further versed on this than I am at the moment. But a lot of ranking in that 7-pack has to do with the trust and the domain authority and the organic ranking of the original site. So if that's not ranking anywhere, I would suggest trying to rank your client's site or your site that you're trying to rank in a better position. Wouldn't you agree, Derek?
Yeah, so the 7-pack is majority is your organic ranking. So if they're not ranking on page 1 in the top 3 positions, usually you won't be on the blended pack or the map pack. And so depending on where they are on the actual maps and where they are on organic, you have to kind of combine the two. So it might be just on-site optimization they have to work on usually, not so much of the citations, but you can also check to see if they have a duplicate listing or if they have another business name under the same phone number. That's usually a big issue. Mm-hmm. So I always try to clean up those citations. Like I really don't even use citations until I'm almost on page 1, just in case, because I know I can rank into the map pack without even using a citation, really, but just because I know how much organic is going to power it up, and then I come in with the citations just to finish it off. Just because citations can, if you mess them up, they're such a pain in the butt to fix.
Right. So what it all comes down to, guys, is that a real key ingredient to all this is organic ranking. If you're not ranking right now in the top 10 on page 1, get to page 1 and then worry about why you're not in the 7-pack after that. I'm not saying don't send citations there, but it's a massive part of like getting in that 7-pack right now.
You can rank on the blended without your organic, but you'll be always in the bottom of the map pack.
Sure.
Because those are kind of leftovers. That's usually ranks maybe 1, 2, 3 positions are organic, and then the number 4 or 5, etc., are kind of just leftovers on maps, the ones that are ranking. So
this also is going to be another Derek Owasiak question, because I've only tested this a few times, but I know that you do this. He says, Jimmy said we can spam our no-follow citation links to our Google Place page. What is the density of keywords we can spam with?
Yeah, I usually do between 3 to 5%. So you're basically just trying to rank it how you would rank a normal anything. So don't do too much. Yeah, 30% is way too high, 10%. So you just kind of want to get at least 25% LSI, and then 20% domain branded, and so maybe 3 to 5% main keyword, and then another 20% of your generic kind of thing. So,
And I'm not sure Derek's going to back me up on this. I don't even know that if you're not really, really, really good at GSA and SEO, I wouldn't even attempt this. I mean, to know how to use GSA and to do all this stuff, and we're not talking about hitting this stuff with thousands of links at
Yeah.
all, at all. And Derek and I, and more so Derek, has tested this out incessantly. And I'm telling you this, the biggest way to jack your site up and your client's site up in SEO is to try to take shortcuts. And especially if you're doing this for an affiliate site or a churn and burn site, then I get it why you're doing it. But if you're doing it with a client site, why the hell do you want to rank it in a month? It makes no sense to me. I want to rank it in 6 or 7 months. I don't want to rank it in 1 month. So I don't pay attention to a lot of these speed rankings, because generally what happens is the way I rank sticks. And when you start doing this stuff, there is, and I encourage you, there's going to be a time come where there will be an algorithm to where no follow links are going to get hit in the future. And if it's a client site or if it's your site, and especially if you start making a ton of money off of it, know that you're going to have some stuff to clean up after that. So I don't advise you to do that unless you really, 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 really know what you're doing. So wouldn't you agree, Derek?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We don't know what's in the future, so.
This is true. It says, when using IFTTT, do you use each web property similar to using a PBN to make a post with backlinks going back to the money site? That is correct. It says here, next question, how do you price ranking authority properties? Is it the same price as ranking their site? Do you usually rank authority properties at the same time as their site? I don't think I understand that question. Maybe one of you other guys understand what.
I think they just want to know if you wanted to rank, say, like their YouTube videos or their Yelps or whatever. Are you going to price those the same as you would price their website?
I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't concentrate on a lot of that stuff. I've never really messed with it. No, I normally don't. I just rank it anyway. I charge a lot, so.
Yeah.
I just don't mess with it. I mean, I used to, when you could just blast GSA a year and a half ago, maybe I would offer it, but I don't even bring it up. Guys, what happens is when you're in client stuff, don't open up your mouth and over deliver. If someone says, first of all, they should be wanting to get their main company site ranked first. Anyone that comes to you and that their main company site isn't ranking first and wants to get their Facebook page ranked first, I don't understand that. Doesn't make any sense to me. I can understand why they'd want to get a video up there, but why would they want to get their site first? So I've never had this question asked by a client. They're normally concerned about getting their site up there. Then when that's complete, I have had them come back to me and say, listen, now that we've got my site number 1, can you come and get all these other properties up on page 1 too? Then I just keep charging the same amount of money. So what I advise you to do is kind of steer the client over and try to get them to rank their business website and get that completed first, and then offer to do the other stuff after that's completed. Then you can have something to keep billing them on. So that's my advice. I mean, if you guys have anything to add to it or have any different suggestions, just.
I'll say this, that if you read the Panda patent, you will see a lot of language about a plurality of groups of resources. Google wants to run this stuff together, and so they tend to go together in a group like a shark and all the fish that are around it. That if you bring in a property and you're employing the social sites and the authority sites and domain authority stacking, that Google likes those pluralities. They like resources around the same topic, and so they tend to rank them together. They're going to show up, and if you build a few links between those resources, Google looks at that as the kind of network that has information where they will rank stuff as they see fit. And so the richer you make that, the more they're going to rank.
Totally.
That's been my experience too.
I totally agree, Dave. But what do you do why would you be pitching a client though that you just want to rank their Facebook page?
Oh, I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's their website. If
right.
they got a problem, they
So
need to start over with a new website or fix it.
So what would you do if a client said they called you up after 2 weeks and said, hey, we want you to rank our YouTube, Facebook, and our LinkedIn?
Oh, well, that's part of the game.
No, but what would you charge though?
Oh, okay. For me, it's always part of the game. I'm charging enough to make sure that I can take that in as part of our strategy, so they stay with me longer as we work on that.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I
not
say
something I
also.
do separately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like doing the same thing I am. I just say, look, we'll work on it, but we're trying to concentrate on the main page. We'll like get to that if we need to, but let's work on your main page. I just
Yeah, when the tide rises, all ships rise with it.
Right, exactly. So hopefully that answers your question. It says here, question for Cotton regarding YP. I have found someone on YP with a total of 9 listings and would like to contact them, but would like to know if the listings each target keywords. Mainly just want to know for my knowledge before I contact them. Hope that makes sense. Generally, for each different keyword that they target on YP, they're paying a separate cost for. So for instance, if you found 9 listings for them, if they're 9 different keywords, they are paying upwards to $2,000 to $3,000 for each keyword if they're under different listing. Now, if it's just 9 listings and it's the same keyword, that is going to be charged the same amount of money. So, if I'm understanding your question correctly, so that's what it would be. So, anytime that you're on yellowpages.com or yp.com and you see someone that might have, DUI attorney, personal injury attorney, and you see this law firm that's covering all these different categories, that means that they had to pay $3,000 to $2,000 in each category all the way through. So hopefully that answers your question. It says Gregory Ortiz. Is he back on? Gregory is not back on. Question for Greg. We'll try to answer it. I'll have Derek answer this one. If a site has a Google penalty and you 301 it over to a site, will it transfer the penalty over? You can answer that with yes or no.
Depending on the penalty, but generally, yes, they will. So I usually.
I'd rather you not go into detail. I would just
Yeah.
I would just say yes or no. That's for a whole different can of worms. So so your answer is yes.
Yeah,
Just
90%
Yeah,
of
you'll
the
shoot
time
yourself
it's
in the
yes.
foot.
Yeah, depending on what the kind of penalty is.
great.
It could be just an on-site thing, and then it's not going to be a big issue. But
Great. It says here, hi guys, Google My Maps. Does one need an actual address or could one use a generic location? The town's name, looking at ways to use My Maps for a PPL site that doesn't have a physical address. Guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. From everything that I'm learning about what Google's being done, they are cracking down on this really hard about fake addresses and you trying to game Google Maps. Wouldn't you agree, Derek?
yeah, well, they're trying to do it with not even an address at all. So.
Yeah, right. There's
You
like
need an address.
Yeah, there's like no way to do this that I know. Let me ask you this, Derek, because I know that you've thought about it because you've been trying to do a lot of research and development with like Google My Maps. Is it even worth your time to try to game this and to create something fake and put it up there?
I've done it, and it does. I can rank without even.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put an address on the map that doesn't even exist, and it'll just show my business place,
Mm-hmm.
and I can. I don't even have to verify it, and I can still rank it. But it's
Yeah, but
it's just a short-term kind of.
I don't want you to think about you though. I want you to think about
Yeah.
someone that's new that doesn't know what you know. Should they be spending their time doing this, or should they be spending their time doing something else?
I'd spend your time doing something else.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
That's a
don't go there. You're talking about clients, and clients
Yeah.
are long term, and it's their business. It's their lifeblood. You want to be really careful. Handle that whole situation with kid gloves, and stay within the bounds that Google has established as much as possible.
Yeah, you use your own properties if you want to do something risky, and then so you can burn it and just move on and do something else. And then
Well,
yeah.
I think he was talking about just himself, but what I'm
Yeah.
like saying is there's better ways to make money. Once again, I can't express this enough. Shortcuts end up taking you longer to recover from than anything else. That is the biggest downfall in SEO. If you don't have the luxury to test shortcuts, Derek has a luxury. Derek's very successful. He makes tons of money every month. That's what Derek does. He researches and develops shortcuts. I don't deal in shortcuts. I let Derek and I talk, and he tells me what some of these shortcuts are. I research and develop my client stuff. My SEO is more long term, more stable over 6 months. I use some of what Derek finds and discovers and tries to make it as safe as possible to put over what I'm doing with my clients. But if you're just starting out, stop looking for shortcuts. You need to be going through Greg's videos. You need to be doing things as stable as possible. And if I'm going to game something, I think the last thing that I would try to start with is Google Maps. I think I would try to, rank an affiliate site or something else to try to make money. It's a short-term money maker. And there's just not enough money on it for the time and effort involved just to get clipped. It says here, hold on. Let's go to the next one. How do you check if a site has been penalized, Derek?
Best way is by ranking drops. So it's after that you just got to figure out why, what it's from, if there was a major update, or if the last couple of links you sent to it, did it help or tank it? So it's basically just digging into the data from there. And I mean, to do penalty recovery and all that, it's just a whole 8-hour course at least. So.
Exactly. Well, I just think they're trying to not to avoid picking up a client that has a penalty. Another thing also, if you really want to know.
Did you used to be on page 1? Where did you used to rank, and where are you now? And that gives you a pretty clear picture fast.
That's what SEMrush is really good for. So before I pick up a client, you look at them, they get a big drop in traffic, and then you're wondering why. So you can kind of find out if they had a penalty before you even take them on. So.
Great. Next question, Cotton. With the YP video heisting, are you creating a new channel for each video or putting up multiple videos into a single channel? I am creating a different channel with a different login right now. But once again, this is what I researched and developed. This is not my main client getting method. My late job for OMG is to research and develop successful ways to help everyone get more clients. This isn't one of my top 10 ways that I get clients. It can get clients, and I have got 3-4 clients using this method, but it's nothing that I practice on a regular basis. It says discovery form is something that should not. Okay, that's right there. Cotton, regarding Amanda's IFTTT technique, I'm building a niche site with many cities and subdomains, i.e. Houston Plumber, Dallas Plumber, San Diego Plumber. In your opinion, is it safe to use an IFTTT link wheel for each of these separate domains? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what IFTTT is for.
Yeah, plus the subdomain is going to isolate it. So if you screw up one of them, the rest won't be affected.
Yeah. This is the best question of all the webinar. And I don't even know if I can answer it because it would, Cotton, how do you get your prospects? Whatever is working, I reveal in Director's Cut in OMG. I have about 15 to 30 different methods that we're going to drip out over the course of the next year for Director's Cut. So you'll be able to see every successful method that I've researched and developed. So that's like my answer to that one. Michael wants to know, I operate sites in the German language. Social Explosion is not available in German, and Fiverr gigs to get likes and shares from German users are also not available. What would be ways for me to get social going? Derek?
I don't do a whole lot in German, but right now I consider mostly social as just social. It doesn't really matter what language it is in. So I just do Social Explosion. Doesn't matter if I'm using Australia or German or whatever. And then Google right now is just looking at quantity of social. They're not really into the quality of it yet. But I mean, for the future, quality will be a deal. But right now, it's still about quantity.
Yeah. So in other words, it'd be safe to just throw American stuff at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean, if you can find something in German, then yeah. But I mean, social is mostly, for me, it's more of like cheap insurance more than anything else. It doesn't really help you rank that much.
Sure. Let me throw this next question to Alex, to make sure that he's awake with us still. It says, what what to do with an uncooperative client. I don't know what that means, but we'll answer
Yeah,
it.
what do you mean by uncooperative? Easiest answer is to keep taking their money until they start cooperating.
Let's just say, you know what? Let me elaborate it on a little bit and just get your thoughts on it, because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just always great hearing someone that's as successful as you are just problem solve on the fly. Let's just say that you have requested WordPress logins to have access to their site and you can't get it.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to have all your clients on a recurring payment, so they don't have to log in and pay you every month or whatever. And I've done it just through simple PayPal links. You just set up a subscription payment, so they're already hooked in. It's on their credit card, and it's going to be charged no matter what. When you're framing your clients, and if you know you need the WordPress logins, you should get that sort of stuff up front as you're closing the deal. If you can't get this stuff and you're sending them emails and they're still not responding, well, they're still on that subscription payment, so you're still going to get paid. The only thing you can do is do your own, due diligence to try to get them to make the move you want them to make. I would send, 3 or 4 emails throughout the month, so you have documentation saying, hey, I asked you to do this, 2 months ago 3 times. I asked you to do it last week. Yes, I've gotten 2 of your payments, but you're not ranked because you're not cooperating with me.
Fantastic. What about you, Dave Keys?
Yeah, if they're uncooperative, they're close to being fired. It depends on the client. If I've had a relationship with a client for a long time and a problem arises, we're going to try to solve it. But if it's down to the level of they're not going to give me access to webmaster tools, or they don't want to give me passwords to WordPress, or they don't want to cooperate. I mean, what is the point of fighting that? So much energy, and you can just go out and get another client. And remember that each one of us here in this webinar knows so much more than anybody else that our client knows. They're not, they might happen across another OMG person, but generally in my niche, if they want results, they have to come to me, and so they have to cooperate. And I project that attitude to them, that this is a cooperation game. So I don't play uncooperative.
Yeah, great answer. And we'll go to the next question. This is maybe a statement. It's to Alex. It says, I was on the August 13, 2014 Acceleration Webby with Alex and Mike Long. Has your process changed any, Alex, since then, if doing affiliate marketing? It seems as though it's like you almost doubled your income then. Thank you for answering the question.
I've changed almost absolutely nothing. I'm just doing more of it. I'm outsourcing a little bit more of the work, so I'm doing less actual hands-on work, so I can get more websites built and more content out and more SEO, done. But the process of keyword research and building the sites is exactly the same. I'm just now starting to get into, the domain authority stacking and using social stuff. I still haven't really cracked that code. My game is still pretty much great keyword research, a couple PBN links, and figuring out how to monetize on the back end. It is January. Most of my stuff is health related. So, in January after the new year, everybody wants to get in shape, lose weight, or get ripped. So that's definitely helping my January affiliate sales for sure.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thanks for answering that, Alex. The next question is, please pull up SEMrush and show us what to look for. Guys, it's pretty simple. Just put the keyword in there, and it's going to show you a list of other LSI keywords that are right in there. Don't overthink this sort of stuff. It's pretty easy stuff. And the next guy says, what? No SERPed? Guys, I guessed it. Unfortunately, we're dinosaurs because we've been at SEO for a year now. I don't know. I'm just used to doing my own process, and I tried to use SERPed, and I got a headache. And I'm not saying it's not great. I hear tremendous things about it. Greg raves on about it. Everyone raves on about it. When you have a process down that works for you, you have to feel comfortable. And I'm just kind of set in my ways right now, just using all the programs individually, and I can afford it barely. I can barely afford it. So if I was new and I was starting out, my advice to you would be to use the OMG Command Center. I would tell you to do that. I wish the OMG Command Center was around when I started, about 13 months ago. So I could have saved a tremendous amount of money. Now I can afford to, spend the $79 for each of these particular products, and I don't mind because I don't miss the money, and I already know how to use them, and it's just something that I don't have to learn, and so it already works. So that's why. But yes, if you're just starting out, I would use OMG Command Center. I'm just stubborn. I guess for not wanting to learn something new.
I like some advice that I heard recently from James Upjohn about looking for what to put into your content and all of that. And he said it's like a game of poker, and the dealer has to show you his hand every time. And this is Google, that you can look at what Google's ranking for something. So you put in whatever your client wants to rank for or whatever, and look at what's there. Google has to show you their hand every time. Look at the titles, the metadata, all the content of the sites that are ranking. And Google gives you an idea how much latent semantic index stuff they're looking for, what other words are relevant, other suggested searches. They have a cluster of information around that ranking that you can use right from Google. You don't need the tools help and they speed that up, but Google will tell you what they're looking for.
True. Guys, are any of you, we seem to be getting a bunch of questions now about OMG Command Center. Is any of us using it here? Derek, are you?
No, I'm not.
Are you, Dave?
I have it, but it's not my default method
Right.
for anything right now.
Alex, what about you?
No, and it goes back to what you said. I'm kind of stuck in my ways right now, just like you mentioned. So every new tool that you get into, there's going to be a learning curve.
Mhm.
And I'm so good with the tools I'm using now that I don't want to spend the 2, 3, 4 hours learning something new. But when I did look into the Command Center, it has all the foundations of other tools that I am using, if that makes sense.
Right. But you know what, Alex? I'm still going to get you to switch over to Mac.
No, not doing it.
Yeah, all the cool guys use Macs.
Not doing it.
It's an ongoing battle between me and Alex. You know what I'm going to end up doing? I'm just going to send him an iMac. I'm just going to say, what's your address? There's going to be there's going to be an iMac just land on your doorstep.
Well, I wouldn't argue with that.
Well, there you go. So the question said, you just talked about programs like Majestic ARS. Does OMG Command Center compare? For what I understand, it has all of them already in it, and it's going to save you a lot of money. So if you're short on cash and you're just starting out, that's a direction that I would go in.
Yeah, it does have a lot of great tools right there combined together.
I just can't argue, when I'm Dave Keys making, 20 plus thousand a month, and when I'm, Alex making, 60, 70, $80,000 a month, and they've got a process down, I can't argue with them. It works. So I can't argue with their process. It says here, next question, is there a detailed process description for a detox, which we could use for clients? Yes, there is, and that could be a webinar that we could probably talk about on for 8 hours. So that'll be a future webinar coming up in one of the assimilation webinars. We might have Derek go through how to properly use link research tools if Derek is up to it sometime in the future, but we won't.
Sure. There's always Traffic Hospital too. That's a really good course.
Right. Yeah. If you really want to know, Jimmy's Traffic Hospital is something that I would invest in. Little pricey, but if you're really wanting to know that sort of stuff, that is where I would go. Next question. If you are seeing high do follow backlinks on your client's site and they are hitting over 10% on the money keyword, how can we dilute? Can we GSA it with other keywords? I would just create more social profiles around it.
Yeah, I would hardly ever use GSA towards your client's sites unless you are a GSA wizard.
Yeah, that's not me either. So,
even then.
Right, no.
Proof.
Guys, the best way to dilute a site for keywords is just simply create more social profiles for it. There is over 500 to 600 social profiles that have high DA that are highly trusted. You can brand those back to the site. It looks natural. Google wants to. I would say that's about the safest, most elementary way to tell someone new of how to do that. Wouldn't you say so, guys?
I'd use that IFTTT method. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would just hit them with URL and brand anchors all day long with quality links and eventually dilute that exact match anchor a little bit.
Absolutely. What do you do when you come across someone who has got a penalized site, guys? That's going to be a whole nother webinar. If I see a penalized site, I like went over this at OMG Live, how to price this out and but not how to do it. So that's future webinars, guys. We can only cover so many things at a time on a webinar, but this is literally a topic we could go on and on and on and on with about how to do site recovery and site penalties and stuff. It says, Chris says, man, from all the various points of views, this is great. Learning so much. Thanks, guys. Well, you're welcome. I'm sure everyone feels the same way. What is SEMrush, Stefan? Type in semrush.com and check it out. That's it. You know that one program they got here. Google it. I would have sent you that link. But not to be an ass, SEMrush is a very good program that if you type it in, it does a lot of analysis for it. It tells you almost everything. Like if I had to pick, it'd be really hard. But if I had to pick one site only, one tool to sell clients with that I needed, it would probably be SEMrush. Now, even though I would really want to know the domain authority and I'd really want to know the trust flow, where I'm going to get all my money from and what's going to take this time and speed out of what I need to know is all coming from SEMrush. So SEMrush is probably my favorite one. It said, could you give a quick overview of how you find an opportunity in SEMrush? We're getting a lot of SEMrush questions. Guys, it's simple. When you type in a website into SEMrush, or you just type in a keyword into SEMrush. For instance, let's say that you're looking for, Orlando plumber. When you type in Orlando plumber, what it's going to do is it's going to show you every keyword that's related to that's getting traffic in Orlando, Florida. So that shows you opportunities that you can place your client into. So hopefully that makes sense in about a quick and condensed answer as I can without going through a whole SEMrush lesson. Any suggestions for detox training? Another webinar altogether.
Hey, Cotton, something
yes.
that might be more important than the training itself that I think is that you want to get your client in the mindset. This is going to take up to 6 months.
Sure.
Especially if you got a message from Google, they've got you on a hook, and they sometimes just hold you there, and they'll keep coming back and saying, hey, we don't like this either. And it may be a fair link, but they're now picking on you, and so a client needs to know that they didn't get there overnight, hopefully, but it's going to take a while. They just need to understand that, they really want to detox. It may take some time, more time than they like, but they get that mindset over to your client, and then, what we talked about before as far as the training that's available.
Yeah, like I said, this detox stuff, there's a whole different ball game that we can go over at a different time. The pricing, mindset, everything is entirely different than SEO. Okay, I'll let Alex answer this one. This is a pretty easy question. It says, is it important to use .com domain for my city SEO? Or can you use one of these real special spanking new ones like .expert service or .rocks?
.com, .net, .org in that order for SEO purposes. Yes, you can rank any extension you want. It's just slightly easier with the .com, .net, .org. And that is just a theory that's been beaten into me. I've never tested it. I've never ranked a .guru or whatever you want. I've always used .com, .net, .org in that order if I can get it.
I can answer that. I have done some research and development on it, and I found that I could not rank them. Everything that I did side by side with a .com, .net, or an org, I could not do with the .zone. I had bought a site for a city SEO site. I used the exact same PBN links. I use the exact. Now, remember, I'm like telling you, everything's exact besides the extension. So let's just take, for example, that I wanted to do orlandosco.com and then orlandosco.zone. I took the exact same PBNs, the exact same social profiles and everything, and I was able to land on page 2 very, very, very quickly with my .com. I was not able to get anywhere with this .zone. And I have done this test 3 times and got the same results. So,
Interesting.
and if you stop and look at it, guys, I want you to tell me one place you've ever seen online where you've ever seen a zone, a rocks, an expert, a guru, or anything that's in the top 10. Show it to
I
me
read
and
a
I'll
few
believe it.
months ago that Google said there is no benefit to these new TLDs. And to me, that's an implication that they are tooling their system to make sure that exact match or anything else is not working for those. So that to me, I think no benefit means slightly less benefit. It totally
Right.
matches what your experience of not being able to get above page 2.
Let's have Derek weigh in
.com
on
is
this and see
better.
what he says.
Well, for those ones, yeah, they have. I haven't been able to rank them very easily. They're always almost twice as hard for me to rank. But I mean, if you're in a, I'm in Canada, and obviously .ca is a lot easier for me to rank than .com. So same thing with your local country. You want to have the TLD for that country is the best way to rank. So.
Yeah, unlike fortunately, guys, I learned the extremely hard way. I had a client that really wanted this particular phrase for his website, so I couldn't find it, com, org, or net. So I said, you know what? Let me try .zone. Oh, Jesus Christ! The thing I could never rank it, and I started to question whether I knew SEO or not. And then I went out and did something similar with the net and was able to rank it in 30 days. So there's something to it. I don't know what's to it. These tests I done were about 4 or 5 months ago. Since then, I've just stayed away from them. And if you're really not wanting to waste time, I suggest that you stick with the the comms and nets and the orgs, and you'll probably be better off doing that, especially from what I've tested and from my headache that I've had to do, thinking that they would rank the same way. But it all comes down to this. Please, I would love to see it. And no, I want to know. I'm not saying, hey, prove me wrong. I would love to see if anyone's ever found any of these other extensions on page 1 anywhere. And if you do, please send me a message on Facebook. I would love to be able to see it because I want to look at their link profile. So the next question. My client's Google My Business page shows the address with drive spelled out. Most of their citations have it abbreviated as DR. Do I need to get all those fixed to match in Google? I would just go into the dashboard, and the easiest way to fix it is if they're all that way, just change it to DR in the dashboard, wouldn't you, Derek?
Yeah, you can change it there, but they're pretty good at they know drive to DR and avenue to AVE, so usually it won't make much of a difference.
Mm-hmm. So from your research and development with you testing, you're finding out that
Well, if you put avenue or whatever in Google My Business, your plus profile will show AVE because they shorten it to save space. So it's not like they don't know the difference, but I always have the long format in the actual dashboard.
Well, I think what the question is if they have a client and they've seen that all these citations are drive, DRIVE, and you go and look in your dashboard and it's DR dot, what's the best way to fix that? Or
I
does it matter?
just leave it usually, but
Okay.
I mean you can change it and see if you have any increase, but usually it's Google's they're not that dumb. So.
It all comes back to what Derek said, though. That if you're not ranking organically on page 1, and then if you're not taking some filler spots on the bottom pins, then I would be trying to rank the client side organically first to move you up. So that's my advice. Okay. It says, I've got a couple clients who, for whatever reason, have 2 or 3 plus local pages, but only one is in their dashboard. They're not a multi-business location. Google's tough to communicate with. How can I get these duplicates deleted? Derek?
So they have three the same pages in the dashboard?
It says they have 2 or 3 Google Plus local pages, but only one is in their dashboard.
And if the other two are not verified, then you can, if the other two are verified, you can actually just email Google. There's support desks that they can actually help you transfer the ownership to those ones, and then or delete the duplicate. But there's it's kind of hard to find the help desk.
You know what's like funny is it like always amazes me, and I'm like glad we're getting all these Google My Business questions and pluses, but like literally until December, OMG didn't even have a Google My Business question. Now everyone's freaking out about it, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've make all my money without ever messing with maps all together. I have one client that I charge $17,000 a month that has 92 locations that I'm putting all of them on maps, and that's it. I really don't offer it because it's just another level of complication that I don't want to jack with. I've like said it at OMG Live, and I'll say it right now. I like making my life simple. I rank their main site organically up in the top 1, 2, or 3 positions. I'm in them out. When you start opening up your mouth and offering these other services that you don't know how to adequately take care of the problems for, you need to learn how to do it or don't offer it. And if you think that it's easier, it's just as hard to rank in the 7-pack in many cases as it is doing organic. So make your life easy. I don't open my mouth up and offer the 7-pack to every client or even talk about it. I talk about ranking their site organically because it's the easiest and it's the less hands-on. I don't have to go in and worry about connecting all these dots together. This needs to be connected to that. Go out and build 50 other things to get connected to this and this information connected to that information. I simply keep things simple. It's another added service that once I'm done organically ranking them, I can offer them to keep it going. Then it's twice as easy for me to get in the maps because I'm ranked so high organically. That's just my advice.
In some business types, you will not get a 7-pack. Last fall, Google took it away from about 95% of real estate. You can't get it.
Right.
They're just not going to do it. They'll tell you, here's a syndicate site or here's a national brand that we think is the best result, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, just one of the things I want to make real clear to everyone, it's like, well, how do you get to $250,000 a month? It's pretty simple. I don't open up my mouth about, oh yeah, I do web design. Oh, I like do list building. Oh, I like do this. Oh, I do SEO. I don't talk about the 7-pack. I don't talk about anything else. That's all I offer. So when they ask me, do you do web design? No, I don't, but I have someone that I can refer you and I'll source you to get it taken care of. That's it. It's not anything that I do. I keep my life simple. I like ramp it up. I accelerate my growth quickly. And when I start doing all these other things, it really don't matter at the end of the day. All I'm doing is slowing my growth down and wasting my time. So choose wisely remember, we're all in this to do one thing, make money. Make money. So if there's no money in it, I don't want to do it. And if it's more complicated to make the money, I want to eliminate it from what I'm doing. So, okay. Can you please explain the advantages of using Mike Hayden's skin? What do you say if the client wants to use another WP theme? Well, guys, Mike Hayden's theme was inspired directly off cottongrammar.com, my website. It's 100% ripped off from my site. I mean, I gave him permission to do it with my blessing, but I researched and developed that site for over a month of my life. I've spent over $15,000 worth of design, writing it, doing all, the verbiage for it and everything. So my whole thing is I wanted a website that could convert for client SEO. If your client is a plumber, I don't know if it works for him or not. All I know is this. I know that this site gets me Fortune 500 companies. And from every other theme that I've tested, that I've used, there is no other theme. There is no anything that works as good as this one. Now, I know that Derek has built a very nice website. I'm not going to tell you the name of the website unless he wants to share it. He has a very beautiful site that he's built also that I think that would work highly successful. But I know that Derek has spent a good 2 months working on that site. And so that's the template of how I make $250,000 a month and how I present myself and show myself. of why they should work to me. That's the template. So when you ask, what if a client doesn't want to use it? Then they don't want to use it. But I would definitely say, why aren't you using it? Because if I've spent this much time and tested and researched it for you and did all this work for you, what I didn't realize was when I first started getting into SEO, it's a whole lot more than ranking. I wasn't happy with the way my website looked, and I was number one in a lot of places, and my phone wasn't ringing. And so when I changed my website, my phone started ringing. I started having people fill out the discovery form naturally. So it was a very long process to get to that. So that's the advantage of using my cadence theme. And also, Mike put this in to be in the dynamic theme, and it's also ready in to be for the semantic web. So it is actually better. It's a better theme than what I'm using right now for speed, to being compatible with the semantic web, to being mobile, to being everything. And he's also put a good 200 hours developing this site and this skin to give to Director's Cup members. So if you're doing SEO, I would encourage you, and client SEO, I would encourage you using it, because if you're not, unless you want to reinvent the wheel and spend months and thousands of dollars to do it, because how long have you been working on your site, Derek?
Sometimes, well, we spend a month building it all up, and then the next month we might just completely go in a different direction,
Sure.
shut it down again. So
Sure. But like, you've been trying to perfect your site for months, haven't you?
oh yeah, like we see something cool, and we're like, oh, we have to implement that, and then,
Right.
So that's why I hate sticking with one template. I like to
Right.
customize everything. So
But it's a working process, though, for you to even got to where you were. I remember when you first started building it to where it's at right now, it looks night and day. And that's all from trial and error, and you writing out everything to get it just the way you want it to convert, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and Derek has built a masterpiece of a site. So, and then the same way I did mine, literally, it took me months to get that site the way it is. And Mike Hayden just copied my site and made it available to you, so you don't have to think. So you have something that you know that works for you. Next, say Derek, how do you set citations for a business that have several offices?
you need to have a different phone number for each location. So then you just build the citations like you're doing one company, but you're just sending those citations to that actual location page. So it's no different than that. It's the same thing.
Great. It says, Cotton, how do you best management of your clients? Do you have a system that you use, and could you share it in a mind map maybe? That's another webinar. We'll probably go over client management, what to do when one gets in your ecosystem all the way through to when they leave. That'll probably be an assimilation webinar coming up in the next few months or something. We'll get that in there. Let's see here. This is I think we're kind of winding down on the questions here. Yeah. What we're going to do is we've been an hour and a half answering questions, and we're right now going to jump into the other part of it, which is client CPR and the Lazarus effect, how to save a dying client and how to bring one back from the dead. And what we're going to do is discuss different ways and tactics that we've used to save clients, to bring some clients back from the dead. Could be just a mindset, an email, a tactic, an SEO trick, something that we've done to save a client before. And when I was first talking about the subject, Alex, who is recently just started getting very, very deeply into client stuff and doing unbelievably well. It's obviously there's no question that he would. Someone that can do this well at affiliate, to move over to doing client stuff. He's very, very brilliant already, and he's going to share something that he's used to help save something. I'm going to share something. We're going to have Dave. Derek might have to leave us in about 30 minutes, but he can interject if he wants to. So I know that he has an appointment that he's got to be at in about 30 minutes. So it'll probably just be me, Alex, and Dave covering it through the rest of the whole time, because I think Gregory had some problems and had to leave us. So Alex, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay. So you're gonna share my screen, right?
Let me go ahead and get that over to you.
You're breaking up a little bit. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes, I can hear you.
I hear you fine.
Yeah, let me go ahead and get you that screen.
All right. Everybody can hear me?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, you see the little question box that go to webinar? Now you should see a PowerPoint.
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me move this stuff over. Okay, guys, so a little bit of background on the story. There's a lot of ways to get clients. There's a lot of ways to make money online. And most importantly, it's just being creative. I got this client about 6 months ago in August. And how I did it was I just picked a local plastic surgery term. Then I ranked the website for it. I believe I was inspired by one of Becker's sites. I think it was like the Rhinoplasty Dallas or Rhinoplasty Plano site he had. And he seemed to be able to rank that pretty easily. So I said, what the hell, why don't I try this, for a term in Baltimore? And that's what I did. Once this site was ranked, and this is a kind of a backward strategy for getting clients that I don't think enough people use, and it's especially a great strategy if you're scared or hesitant to kind of hop on the phone and try to hard sell people or close them. This is a great tactic to get on the phone, prove your expertise, and lock in a sale kind of on the front end. So I ranked this plastic surgery term, and what I did was I just Googled that term, and I went to page 3. And I picked a doctor who was on page 3 for this particular keyword, and I just slapped his phone number on it, and I used CallFire to record the calls. So I let that go for about a month, and he got like 6 to 7 phone calls. And after those phone calls came through, what I did was I just called the doctor. And of course, I got his secretary, and I asked her if she'd had experienced any more phone calls coming in for this particular plastic surgery job. And she said, oh, maybe a couple more calls are coming in, whatever. Didn't really recognize that more phone calls are coming in per se. So I had her go to Google and type in the search word, and I said, you see that website right there? Go ahead and click on it, and if you call that phone number, it'll direct you right to your front office or right to your phone number. So after I made that introduction, I said, listen, I'm going to leave this site up. I'm going to leave your phone number up on it for a couple more days. Let's just see what happens. And as the phone calls were coming in, I made sure that I forwarded CallFire lets you know, hey, you got a phone call from this phone number. I forwarded all those emails over to the secretary. There's also email submit where I had them would email me, obviously, when someone filled out the form. I would forward all those leads over to the secretary. And eventually that got me on the phone with the doctor, and I just did a very simple close. I said, listen, you're already getting these phone calls. The website's already ranked. If you want to keep you on this page, it'll be $14.50 a month. And looking back at it, I could have charged this guy a lot more than I did. But it was my first attempt. The way the conversation was going, I felt like I could lock it in for $14.50 a month, and that's exactly what I did. And if you see on the next slide here, this is the email that I had with the doctor, and you can see that on 8/20 I said, looking forward to working with you guys. And my next correspondence with the guy was January. And this is part of what I want to talk about today, and when it comes to talking with clients and not being scared of them. I didn't want to talk to this guy. I was worried that the website was not giving him any value because the phone calls aren't ringing off the hook. They're not coming in every day. And I thought, if I send this guy reports every month, he's going to bail out. So let me just keep him on as long as I can. I'll kind of hide in the background here, and we'll see how long I can keep this going for. And you see that lasted 6 months. So after I got this email, I wasn't, really blown by it. I was like, whatever. So I shot him back an email. I said, okay, I'll cancel your payment. I'll keep you up there to end of February. Thinking, all right, end of February, I'll just put up a different doctor, make some more phone calls, and close the deal again. Maybe I can get $2,500 a month for it this time. So when I did that, I realized, why? Why even do the work to try to find somebody else? Why even go through that process again when I got this easy money in the bank every month already? So I put together this email, and this is the exact email I shot over to him to save the deal, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. So, hey, Dr. Blank, hope all is well. Your last payment came through a couple of days ago, and as promised, I will be canceling future payments while keeping your info on the site to the end of February. Did you know that you got a call from the website today? And that was true. This phone call came in on the website, and it kind of sparked my, this email. So I sent him a screencast of the number he got, how long the phone call was, what call fire basically shows me, and I sent that over to him. So then I said I went back and I looked at your leads to this site. You received 58 phone calls and 10 email submits. It's important to remember just how extremely targeted these leads are. There are local customers in search of your services that you can't buy leads this hot. So I was kind of just, putting it back in his head that this website, the people calling you on this website, you can't get these leads anywhere else, and you really can't. So some quick numbers. 68 prospects reach out to you for a procedure that costs, on average, $3,500. If you close these at a 10% rate, which would be horrible, I would bet your closing rate is closer to 30%, that would be 6.8 new jobs. At 6.8 new jobs, at $3,500 a pop, that's $23,800 in revenue. So far, including this month's payment, he had spent a total of $8,700, and I let him know that. And of course, he did the math, showing that there's $15,100 in profit on just those phone calls that are coming in with that poor closing rate. So then I said, most doctors I work with get about 1 referral for every 5 to 10 patients. It's quite possible that one of these new customers you got from this website has already given you a referral or been back for a second procedure, increasing your profit. Looking at the numbers, I think this arrangement has returned a ROI for both parties, and I consider it a success. I went back and I added in that sentence right before I sent the email, and I think it had a big impact. When I read it again to myself, I think what it did was it kind of cemented the fact that this is successful for him, it's successful for me. Why stop it? And I think there's kind of a little bit of a psychological play in that sentence. I don't know. Then I went on to say, I'll be the first to admit the phone calls slowed down during the winter. But during this summer, they were coming in like crazy. And this is just me being honest with him, so he knows, I'm not just some guy on the internet trying to scam him. This is real. That's what happened. I'm not sure how much of your business comes from this procedure, but there are some doctors in this area who are putting up insane numbers. And that's true. And I got that information from him when I sold him the renting of this website. I knew this wasn't a major portion of his business, this particular procedure, because he told me that. But he told me, yes, he's interested in growing that portion of his business. And he told me some of the numbers that doctors in the area are doing with this procedure, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I made sure to remind him of that in this email. So then I said, if you're looking to expand this part of your business, renting this site is a great way to do it. If you want to continue, I'll double my SEO efforts and try to take over the #1 spot before the summer comes. This way we can maximize your lead volume. Let me know your thoughts. I got a phone call within 5 minutes of sending this email saying, Alex, you know what, let's just keep it up there and run it for a couple more months. And if I wouldn't have taken the 10 minutes to put this email together, I wouldn't have been able to save that deal. But
Fantastic.
This was a defensive move, okay? It was me trying to save the deal. There are things I could have done to be more offensive and probably keep him for much longer than I'm going to. And I want to talk about why I didn't send him those monthly reports. I mean, I was renting the website out for like $1,500, and 3 to 5 emails a month. In my mind, I didn't see that he was getting value for this. I didn't recognize that until I actually sat down and looked at the numbers. So I made an assumption that was wrong on my part. And because I made that assumption and believed that assumption, it led me to not follow up with the guy the way I should have been. I should have at least been sending him a report every 6 weeks and letting him know, this is what's going on. Even if that wouldn't have shown a huge amount of sales and numbers for this website, what it probably would have done is it would have opened up more dialogue with this particular surgeon. I would have, gotten more in with him, and I probably could have expanded this deal to more of an overall SEO campaign, working on his website, other opportunities that are out there. But because I kind of hid away from him, I thought I got the deal and I'll just, be quiet and let this ride as long as I can. I didn't do that sort of stuff, and that was wrong with me, and I realize that now. So I wanted to share that with you guys. One, to show you that there's value in all these rankings, even if you don't really believe it. And just because you don't think it's there doesn't mean it's not there. In this particular case, it was obviously there. You can do the math and see the value. But even if the math is not there, you never know why a person wants to be ranked where they are. It might not be a monetary thing. It might be a reputation thing. So don't be scared to follow up with the clients. I think I really dropped the ball by doing this. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. That was the exact email I wrote that saved that deal. And now what I'm going to do, because I still have this relationship, is I'm going to grow on that later. I'm going to beef up my SEO on that site. It dropped to like number 5. Our deal was to keep it in between 1 and 5. I'm going to bump that thing up to number 1, get him some more phone calls, have him be happy with my work, and now I have a great in to pitch him for a full SEO campaign on his website for huge keywords. That'll at least be $5,000-$6,000 a month of SEO work. So that's what I had for you guys. I hope maybe it helped you guys out.
Hey, Alex, not to interrupt you or anything, but you got a lot of comments coming through. First one was, wow, that was awesome. You just gave me a mini breakthrough. So a lot of people, guys, if what Alex has shared with you today, do him a favor. He's like taking his own time out to come here. He's not getting paid for this. If like you could go over to our Facebook thread that is the simulation webinar and just type in a hashtag, thanks, Alex, that would like mean a lot. I'm like sure that'll make him feel better about getting back on, because Alex has got some other crazy stuff that, we might be able to twist his arm to reveal in future webinars. He's like doing some stuff that him and I talked about a couple of weeks ago that's literally mind bending. And, he's making a ton of money. He's also killing it with client getting. If you could just let him know your appreciation for coming on here, sharing that tactic. We also might be able to get him to share that email and exactly what he wrote. This is exactly what we're talking about, of how he took a client that was absolutely gone. He was out the door, and how he brought him back, and how he put another $3,000 in his pocket. That could, that's, if you're looking at it, that's a lot of money. $3,000 can change a lot of people's lives. It's what some people make in the course of a month. He did that, and there's no doubt in my mind that Alex is going to be able to keep this guy on for bigger and better stuff, and even flip this deal from a $1,400 deal into something even more substantial if he puts more time and attention into it. So it's just a lesson of little things that you can do that you can absolutely help and save a client. Guys, you have any questions for Alex here? Let's see here what we got here. It said, how did you find the keyword that you used?
Well, I just picked a word, or a plastic surgery job, I guess you would call it, that I knew cost a couple bucks. Like, you wouldn't want to do this for a surgery that costs $500. So I picked a term that I knew was a couple $1,000s per gig, and also it was more open to be ranked easier than some other terms. That's how I picked that.
Great. Let's see here. How to break down plastic surgery. I don't know if I understand that question. Another thanks, Alex. Great stuff. Thank you. Always great takeaways, Alex. This method works wonders. How I do on my SEO deal. Great job, Alex. A lot of thanks. It says, hey guys, you mentioned ranking FB citations of the properties. We'll get back to that in a second. Thanks, Alex. There's a lot of thank yous. If you can see them all coming through. So absolutely, that's great stuff, guys. I just decided that Gregory Ortiz is no longer on here, so I was going to hold back, and at the end, I'm going to let Dave Keys know next. I'm going to reveal to you one method at the end of the webinar, so I would definitely stay on for it. That's literally going to blow your mind, and that I've been using to save clients. What Alex has showed us is pretty mind blowing as well. So stay on for it. And guys, just take the time. The moral of the story is, and I'm very guilty of this as well, sometimes when I think these small deals, I don't give as much attention as I need to. They can actually grow into bigger deals if you cultivate them right. And, especially, and I know this is sad to say, when people like Alex and Dave Keys and myself are all making in excess over $20,000 a month, we might not think that these $1,500 deals are that important to give as much attention. I try to make it a point to give just as much attention to the $1,500 deals as I do my $17,000 a month deals. And sometimes it's a challenge. I mean, we're humans, we're not perfect, but making someone feel important and that you got their back, and that you're showing them that you're getting a business and you're doing everything you can really does go a long way. And, there's no one that can do with what we got. I mean, OMG is a city on a hill. The information we've had, everything we've got is amazing. And so we thank Alex for showing that to us. And let's see what Dave's got. Dave, are you there?
Yep.
You got
Say a
some.
couple quick one-liner notes here. So, bringing back clients, and everybody's business is a little bit different. And Cotton
Hey,
moves somebody in,
hey, Dave, I don't mean to
and
cut you off, buddy. Do I need to share my screen with you?
you can leave it up. I don't need to share a screen or anything,
I'll
but
just go ahead and take it back over, Alex.
Okay, cool.
yeah. So every business is different. Cotton brings a person in. 6 months later, they're going out the exit, and they're done. Um, because of the niche I'm in real estate, it never stops. You never stop competing. You never stop. Everybody is in this game and running hard, and so the relationships tend to last longer. The need tends to be indefinite in real estate. The pressure from the large brands and syndicates is incessant, and so there's always more to be done. So the overarching concept is that if they want somebody who can make this happen, I'm the only guy in the market. And there's other OMGers who are doing a little bit, and there's plenty of room. But if they go to Google, if they go and start looking at my competition and looking at me, my competition is all backing away, like, well, you can't get on page one of this and that, and I can. If the investment is sufficient, I can push you on the page one. So there's that overarching thing that's in my niche. But when it comes to, like sometimes nothing happens and they still have to pay and keep doing that. But sometimes, like last month, and I'll just go into that, and right after OMG Live, I came down sick. And then I got better, and then I had a relapse, and I was even sicker. And I was sick for an entire month. So I had a month where I was not keeping up, and two weeks where I was really doing nothing in my business. I was too sick to do anything for anybody. So some people are just, they're on board, they're steady, they're paying a price to have me there, and they continue to be charged. Other people I had just brought on board, and the whole thing collapsed because I was too sick to do the work. And now, of course, a lesson from that is maybe have some backups, some outsourcing available to make things happen. But we're all at different stages in our businesses. And so there's a mantra I learned from Dan Kennedy. It's do the right thing. And you just know what the right thing is. And for some of these new people, the right thing was to let them know, hey, I've been sick. I've not been able to work on your project. You will see that I have not invoiced you. You have not paid for anything extra. We'll pick up the ball and continue on. And out of all the new people that I brought on, I lost only one. And it happened to be one that was a little bit of a troublesome client. And when they said, I want a refund, I'm like, here you go. Glad to be rid of you. The rest of them, because I did the right thing and I communicated and I told them what the situation, I was just honest with them, and they still know that I can do it. So I brought them back in and started back up, and so we're right back where we left. There are situations where sometimes you've been in a relationship with a client for quite a while, and that whole cycle stops. It's kind of like Cotton's model that we're done, we've got you ranked, but then something new comes along, and something new is not necessarily brand new to me. It's new to the client. People love new things. You look at even the soap advertisements, like we've got the new improved soap because now it has blue specks, or now the package has a new logo on it. We've added a 0.01% of this other ingredient that we haven't used for 5 years. Now it's new and improved. People will buy new. And so I'll bring back the concept of something really new, like, hey, look, we have this new social metric that we're using with a great deal of success on a lot of our test sites, and I want to implement it for you, and here's what it will cost to set it up and implement it. We got a whole new cycle of I have one client in particular, and they were a very low-paying client. They were $500 a month, and I thought, I don't want to re-engage them at $500, but I'll pitch this new methodology, and I said, this is expensive, so it's going to be $2,000, and they paid it just because I pitched it to them. So here they were inactive for like 6, 12 months or whatever it was, and they jumped back in with both feet and paid, 4 times as much as before because they wanted that new methodology, that new result. And that's it. That's all the notes I made. And I hope that helps some people, where you are in your business. That I'll tell you one more thing, that the mind of the average client, you think about your clients a lot because you're bread and butter. But honestly, they are not thinking about you a lot. They're thinking about other things. The real universe in the mind of the average person, when you go out of the room, you disappear. You don't exist. About 5 minutes after they talk to you, they're talking to somebody else and they're thinking about something else. Every day is an opportunity to come back to them and say, hey, look, here's a new perspective on this, and here's what I think we might be able to do together. That works far more often than you would think. And I'd use this with existing clients. Even my longest running client that I've been with for 6 years, I'll say, hey, I got a new idea. Let's try this. And so, here's the price I'd like to set this at, and they'll jump on board, and we're off and running with a new approach to things. So this is relationship based, that especially reactivating people, that you bring in something of value. They know that you have the knowledge and the skills to outperform your competitors. So in a sense, they already have this mental model that they're stuck with you if they wanted results. And that's usually the truth, that they don't have anywhere else to go, that the person can outperform you. And I always tell people that are asking me about competitors, go hire them. By all means, go hire my competitor and see what you get. I've had people go and hire competitors and come back to me. So we have a supreme advantage in OMG. We know more than our competitors. We know more than, even people that outrank us. We know more than they do about helping our clients. And that comes through loud and clear in the end. So I'll wrap up with that.
Sounds like great, Dave. One of the things that I want to reiterate is the best way to never have to get a client to try to bring one back from the dead is I pick my clients very, very, very carefully, is not to pick clients that are already dead when they walk through the door. And that's what Alex said. Alex was smart, and he built his business around trying to pick things that were winners, that weren't that easy, that just needed a tweak here or there to get them ranked up there. That's why I refuse to do startups, and why it's on my discovery form. If you haven't had a chance to walk through where Mike and I just talking about why the discovery form is so powerful, is I don't want to do a startup because they're strapped on cash, they expect too much, they expect miracles, and I have to take something that is nothing and bring it all the way up to where it should be. And it's just a lot of work. It's far easier than to take someone that's at the bottom of page 1 and just move up 9 positions than it is take something that's absolutely nowhere, that the site just started, and to rank it all the way up there. I'd generally charge a whole lot more for that. And I don't like to deal with it. So who you pick and choose with your clients definitely determines how long they're going to stay and how easy it's going to be to keep them staying. Also, guys, setting up expectations. If you tell someone you are aware, and I want to make this very clear to you, and I say this to my clients over and over again before I have them. The reason I've been able to ramp up to $250,000 a month to keep all my clients is I set up all the expectations up front to where everyone understands exactly what they're getting. And if I tell them, listen, you're going to be here for 6 to 8 months. That's how long it's going to take. Are you okay with that? Yes. So 4 months from now, when you ask me why your website's not ranking as well as it should, you're going to trust me and know that it's going to take 6 to 8 months to get there, correct? Yes. So you are, and I even go as far as saying this, you are aware that this is going to cost about $27,000 to $35,000 to get you ranked in this position, but it's going to be a return of about $250,000 from what we've talked about. So you are aware of the total money that you're going to spend to get it there, right? Yes. And when you set up these expectations, you really don't have any problem with clients. They either do or they don't. You're going to have some clients that run out of money or that just can't pay. But the people that know, and you set the expectations up front of what to expect, your chances are you're not going to have them leave, want to go from you, or anything else. Because what happens is when they come to you 3 months later and when they say, hey, listen, this is taking a lot longer than I expected. What do you mean? Do you not remember the conversation that we had together to where I told you that this was going to take 6 to 8 months, and we're at month 3 right now? We're about halfway there. So I understand why you're impatient, but did you forget our conversation? And then they go, oh, yeah, you're right. That's why I have Basecamp. I also put that in writing on Basecamp so I can direct them towards that as well. So I can remind them the conversation we have and the conversation that they've agreed with, how long it's going to take. Guys, there's only a few reasons why SEO deals don't continue to go. Either you didn't set the expectations up front of how long it's going to take, or you didn't communicate with your clients effectively during the time that they were your client. You didn't send reports to them when you said you were going to do it. You didn't give them access to rankings, and you didn't set up the proper expectations. And the bottom line is if you bring someone on with the expectation of 6 months, and remember, 6 months is a very, very long time. 6 months from today is almost the end of June. So it's hard to see what's going to happen that far ahead. So if they're willing to come on to you with that, you run the very low risk of people leaving you, asking questions, or doing everything else if you set up all the expectations there. I just think that a lot of people are very scared to be upfront and upright with your customers and just let them know, hey, look, it's going to take this long. Are you okay with that? And you know what? If they say, no, I'm not, well, I've never looked at that, I didn't realize it was going to be $30,000, then my response to them is, now's the time to think about it. And I just be quiet. Say, because I've got several other people to fill the slot. I think you're fantastic. I'd love to do business with you, but I can only take a limited number of people. And, if you don't want this position, I can easily offer and call someone else to take this position right now. And I said, I'd love to do business with you, but I understand if it's just not a good fit for you or if you don't have the patience for it. And 9 out of 10 times they say yes. If they say no, what's going to happen is, yeah, I scored a little bit of money up front, but the bottom line is it's nothing that I really wanted to do anyway. I want to keep people for the duration. Remember, my goal from the very beginning is when I hire on a client is to make them my employee when I'm done, is to take them and have them so happy that now they're out selling deals for me by giving me referrals. And that's how I drip out my videos. That's how I program them all the way from the very beginning. So any specific questions that you guys have? Because what I've decided I'm going to do is, I don't know if this is going to be very popular or not, but I'm going to stop the recording when I show what I'm getting ready to show, because I don't want it on a recording. And I'm going to reward everyone that showed up here live today. And I'm going to show them a save a client hack that's an ace up the hole that'll blow your mind. And if you know how to do it right, it'll save it every time.
Hey, Cotton, before you turn off the recording, I do want to touch on a question somebody asked. I think it's important.
Sure.
Somebody asked about the legalities of recording phone calls you're sending to businesses without their knowledge. That is absolutely extremely illegal, and you do not want to do that. You want to track the phone calls, though. Services like CallFire will track the forwarding calls that are being made into the office, and it'll let you know how long they stayed on the phone with that call. But you definitely do not want to record the conversation these people are having. It's illegal because you're recording the business, and then you're also recording the prospective customer. So you don't want to do that. But you do want to track the calls. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page there.
Great. Any other questions so far? Great. Guys, what I'd like... Yes.
Dave Keys here. I just want to tell a story that will back you up on this startup thing.
Sure.
I took a client on a startup, and I ranked them, and they ranked today. And they rank very high in their market, where the top ranking you would expect for a local real estate agent to get. They haven't had any deals because they can't sell. They don't understand how to present themselves in the market. They came from a background where they were the salesperson at a destination shopping, new home builders, and guess what? That's always there in the background to maybe be a problem. When people call that person to ask about me, it's like, yeah, they got me ranked, but I haven't got any business off of that site. Well, I made the mistake of designing the site, so then this is another reason that I avoid designing sites now, because it's always about, oh, well, it must be the design. Maybe we'll, so I did 3 redesigns. It's like activity you don't want to be involved in. The startup has a great deal of risk that somebody with a successful business model is not going to present to. So I just wanted to back that up.
Fantastic. Guys, what I want to do is we've like got about 200 people here on the webinar still. If you want to know this secret hack that I use that's guaranteed for you to blow clients' minds when you show it to them, please do me a favor. Go to the Facebook group, type in #secret, and as soon as I get 50 of those, I will start up with this lesson with the recording off, just to reward all of you that showed up today. So let me know. And when I see it, then we will get started. So we might have a little bit of silence here for about 1.5 minutes, so I know where to cut off the video, and then we'll get started here in about a minute.